Yo, what's up everybody, it's me, Big Taco, back for another video. And today I'm bringing you guys a brand new original series. But there's actually twists into this series as well. This series is going to be dropping fully on Taco What Ifs. I know I'm pushing the channel pretty hard right now, but I'm doing that for the purpose because I want to hit 500 subs by the end of the month, and I think that's really possible. So if you want to see the continuation of this series, go ahead and sub to Taco What Ifs. It's going to be a little smart part 0, and the rest of this series will be in full, over 40 minutes long, on Taco What Ifs. So go and check it out. Without further ado, I don't want to hold up you guys too much. Just like the video if you like the video, and I'll see you in the future. Izuku Midoriya. He was born quirkless, and as so, his dream of becoming a hero seemed impossible for him to even manage. So what if Izuku never got a quirk? What if Izuku never ran into All Might and got his quirk? So we're gonna say that when Izuku is, going to go in its interaction with the sludge villain, it goes pretty different. All Might saves him, and instead of, him sticking around, he simply flies away. The slime villain doesn't get loose, and that leads Izuku on a completely different path, and it kind of leaves him into the role that he's going to play now. Now, Izuku's dream was always to get into UA. Even though he was bullied by Bakugo and picked on because of it, he still wanted to be a hero, and he was going to do that by any means necessary. And if that meant joining general studies and working his way up through the ranks that way, that's what he's going to do. So that's exactly what Izuku does. He applies for a role in general studies, and he actually gets in there. He passes the application test, and as so, he's given a shot to be in general studies. He is put in class 1A he's put in class 1C. He's put in class 1D. Sorry for the stuttering, guys. He's put in class 1D, which is general studies. 1A is hero course 1. 1B is hero course 2. 1C is sidekick course 1. And 1D, that's general studies. General studies, the bottom of the rankings. Hopefully he could make it out some way. And that's his purpose in life, to climb out of this 1A hole and make it towards maybe 1D or 1C, which then he could really show off how strong he is and make it towards 1B, possibly even 1A. He knows that Bakugo got into 1A and kind of is angry at Bakugo, but knows that, Bakugo's talented. He has an amazing quirk. It's only a matter of him passing the practical exam, and he did that with flying colors, so Izuku couldn't be mad that long. He was just envious. He wished that he could have a quirk like Bakugo's. But in general studies, he would be involved with so many different characters, and that's where we're going to go into. So we're going to skip past everything, but there's something that you need to know. During our summer break, Izuku actually took training a little bit more seriously. He would try and get his body in a great physical condition, doing sit-ups, push-ups, all the like, to get himself kind of a bulky body. Now, he was nowhere where he would be with training with All Might, but he actually got into the mentality of, I'm going to wake up every day early in the morning because it's time for me to pursue my dream. He got into that mentality because he was starting from the bottom. There was no way he's just going to be gifted anything. He wasn't gifted one for all. He would be in canon. He had to earn every single thing that he got. He got into general studies because he was smart, because he studied. And he was going to get into the hero course because he was strong and because he trained, even if that meant doing it without a quirk. And that's exactly what Midoriya does. Training through the 3 months, getting himself in a great physical condition, he enters general studies with all the confidence in the world, only to be slapped with a boatload of work. There was pretty much almost no practical training involved. It was just like desk work. They were basically priming him to be a worker at one of the sidekick agencies, priming him to be the guy in the back that does all the paperwork. Izuku saw this, understanding this, and he just couldn't take it. He had to show out. And that would start with one of their first ever practical activities. Now, with the general studies guys, they didn't get that much hero activity. The sidekick guys got a lot more than they even got. What the general studies guy got was PE. He was going to have to show how strong he was through PE. Now, luckily for Izuku, there was actually another quirkless kid in there. Someone just like him. It's pretty rare, as there are only like 20% of them in the population. The rest of his classmates had quirks, except for their quirks weren't all that strong, so they kind of just settled into the role of being, hey, I want to be a general studies guy. But Izuku, he was the only one in class who really had that drive. And he told this quirkless kid. His name was Papo. Papo, Izuku, and Izuku, like, they developed a good relationship. And Papo would tell Izuku, hey, you're a quirkless kid just like me, but I love your dream, and I honestly hope that you can achieve it. It's kind of unrealistic, though. You're going to have to show out in PE. And that's exactly what Izuku does. He goes through everything, even with other quirkless kids. Even with other kids with quirks in general studies, using their quirks to get, the upper hand in the physical activities, Izuku still passed everyone. He came in first place for pretty much everything. For the mile run, for the strength test, for everything. Even against kids with quirks. And this really impressed his GA teacher. GA stands for General Studies, if you guys didn't know. So he really impressed his GA teacher, and he would continually ask him, hey, so you saw what I did. Do you think that I could potentially move up to 1D? 1D. Listen, Izuku, I understand that you want to be a hero. I understand that you want to be a sidekick. But that's not going to be possible if you don't have a quirk. Listen, I think that you have great physical abilities. And honestly, your decision making is good. You would make an amazing sidekick. Maybe even a good hero. But you have to develop a power. Whether that be through something. You can't go in there with nothing. Listen, there's this thing in UA. They're called support items. And there are kids here that develop them. Maybe if you can get in with some of them and develop your own support items that can help you, maybe you'll have a shot. But honestly, I don't think you can do it with nothing. But hey, listen, I'll recommend you for class 1C. You better not fail, Izuku. But I will do it. Thanks, Sensei. And you better get on that. I want to see you make it. I really do. No one has ever got from this low and made it up the ranks before. If you can be the first one to do that, Izuku, you'll make everyone in general studies proud. Anyway, guys, that's where this is going to just be ending. Let me know what you guys think about it. Actually, don't let me know what you guys think about it, because the future part will be up on Taco What Ifs. Go check it out. It's in the link in the description. I'll probably leave a comment down there too. But it's right there. If you want to see the continuation of this and you want to see Deku make it out from general studies, develop his own support items, and become a really, really solid hero all around without the use of one for all, you know where to find it. Anyway, like I said in all my videos, like and subscribe, all the fun jazz, and I'll catch you in the next one. Before I go, I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to be making some other videos, not pertaining to what ifs. Just let me know what you guys think about that. I want to experiment a little bit on this channel. And peace. Hey, what's going on? It's your friendly neighborhood Taco, coming back at you with another what if. Is that what we're doing now? I saw it in one of the comments, and yeah, I really like that. Your friendly neighborhood Taco coming back at you with another what if. I think it's pretty good. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry, for taking up your time and stuff. I just wanted to say, this is what if Deku was in general studies, parts 1, 2, and 3. Hope you enjoy, and I don't know, I can't see you in the future. Hope you enjoy, and let's get into the video. Support items. Izuku would need to focus on support. That's what he's going to go into. And Izuku starts doing research immediately, that day when he gets home, taking what his teacher had said seriously. He starts Googling and researching different things. He thinks, okay, I have a good body and I'm strong enough and fast enough to be an amazing physical student, but what can really put me over the edge? He looks for different heroes and looking at their support items, and he really gets a lot of inspiration from a specific hero, Aizawa. Now, this hero Aizawa is actually a teacher at UA. Izuku knows about this. He teaches 1A, the class that Bakugo is in. Aizawa uses a support item called... Honestly, I don't even know what it's called. Let me check on the wiki right quick. So I'm looking on the wiki right now, and it doesn't actually have a name because it's not directly translatable from Japanese. It's just called the capturing weapon. So that's what we're going to call it. So Izuku looks into Aizawa's capturing weapon. It's a cloth-like weapon made from carbon fibers and a special metal alloy. Izuku could get all this from simply Googling information about it, and as so, he jots it down in his notebook as one of the support items he wants to add into his arsenal. Another support item that Izuku wants to add is inspired by the #1 hero, All Might. So Izuku wants to have super strength. He wants to be able to throw off punches just like All Might, and as so, he starts thinking of a support item. He thinks of gauntlet-like gloves that can maybe use wind pressure that he builds up from swinging his arm and condense them into a blow. That's kind of what All Might's punches look like. It looks like he's condensing the pressure in his arm and it all comes out as a burst of wind. So that's what Izuku does. Searching up different gauntlets and gloves, he lands on a specific kind of one he wants. He describes it via words and does a rough sketch for it. Now, Izuku is no artist. The rough sketch ends up looking like something that a 12-year-old would draw. But it's still something, you know, rather than having nothing at all, he has a general idea of where he wants to go with the support items. After doing all that, Izuku thinks of something to protect himself with. So now that he has 2 offensive support items, he thinks maybe there can be something built into my costume to help me keep up with other heroes. He obviously doesn't have the stamina of a quirk person, so to increase his own stamina, which will put him over the top of many people who have quirks themselves, Izuku decides that thing in the front of his costume, his mouth guard, it could be a respirator directly putting oxygen into Deku's lungs. Every time he would breathe in, the respirator would give him fresh air, which could help his stamina a lot. Having that kind of immediate access to air could keep him going for a long time. Where other people will have to grasp at the wind and pull their energy from there, Izuku gets direct shots into his lungs. These are all really unconventional ways of building support items. Items that can help Deku in his already gifted areas. He's good at physical training. He is a great physical student, but he's just increasing what he's already good at. He already has great stamina because he does marathon runs in the morning. He already is pretty strong because he's always constantly doing push-ups in his room. And he already has a great observational skill. Mixing that with the binding weapon would be incredibly OP. But Izuku needs one more thing. One more thing to complete his first ever aided costume. Something to help him on the defensive end. He had the cool gauntlets that can help him punch like All Might. The cool cloth-like substance that can help him whip around like Aizawa. And the amazing respirator that can give him stamina like the best marathon runners in the world. His last addition to his new suit would be one that was harder to incorporate than the rest. Izuku would ask for a shield. I mean, he wouldn't ask for it, he would start sketching it. A shield that would pop out from his chest. It would be there, and just in case Izuku got hit in that immediate area, it would not give him any serious damage, unless he got punched by someone like an All Might. If that was the case, he was already dead to begin with. He would think, this chest, this shield, it should be able to pop out of my chest, and I should be able to grab it and wield it. It should also be throwable, kind of like a hero that we all know and love, Captain America. But is that even possible, he thought? He started doing rough sketches for this shield. It was at first in a triangular design because it needed to cover a wide area and also be able to give Deku that same movement. It couldn't be circular because it would stop his movement. So Izuku decided on, yeah, maybe throwing it is out of the picture. So he settles on creating a triangular-like design which can help Izuku with lateral movement, which is not as stiff, but also can be implanted into the chest area of his suit, keeping him protected from head direct attacks. His back was left barren, but it probably wouldn't matter if he got hit in the back anyway, right? Izuku also knew that he had to do something else. He couldn't just be physically fit. If he was going to really get everything in tandem and really use his support items to his full potential, he would have to learn how to fight. And that's when Izuku jotted something else down on his support items. He was going to learn MMA, starting with kickboxing, then learn karate, and learn Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That was all on Izuku's to-do list. He was going to learn these 3 fighting styles to hopefully give him the upper edge while still being a quirkless kid. Now, these were all just things that Izuku had written down. He would have to follow through on them. And first things first, Izuku began Googling kickboxing tutorials on the internet. That same day, Izuku bought a punching bag, some gloves, and some breakaway boards that could help him practice his chops, punches, and kicks. He also had another problem. He was going to need an area to put all of this. I mean, his 2-bedroom apartment couldn't hold all this equipment, and Izuku didn't have a job to rent out a space. So Izuku that same night started applying for his after-school jobs that he could attend to give him some spare money that he could spend on getting the equipment and getting a space for him to practice. Maybe he could even go to a gym and train with a trainer. This was all going through Izuku's mind. Rushing with all these thoughts, Izuku felt tired. He was exhausted, but he had put in the he had put in the theory work. Now it was just time for him to put in the practical. And it was time for him to get a good night's sleep. So that's what Izuku does. He sleeps for the night and wakes up to the next day more energized than ever. Izuku, wake up! It's time for you to go to school. You're late. Or that's what he thought was gonna happen. All that studying and all that all that theory work had made him late for school. And he was in general studies. He couldn't afford to be late. He arrived in class, interrupting the entire function, and his teacher is actually really disappointed. Looking at Izuku, she says, "Izuku, yesterday I thought we talked about this. You should know better." "I know, but I was up all night last night, working on the thing that you had told me to." "And that's supposed to be an excuse for you being late?" "No, but here, look, I started doing a lot of theory work and scribbling down some things and yeah, just read it." "Izuku, I don't have time for this. We can talk about this after class." "Okay, I guess, but I did it. I mean, at least I'm trying to." "That's nice, Izuku." His teacher was still now so unbelieving in him. Of course she wanted to see a quirkless kid make it, but the way Izuku was acting, she didn't know if he could really break out. But Deku would prove her wrong. Izuku, that same day after class, would head towards a place that his teacher had told him about. The student support location in UA. Sorry for stuttering, guys. The student support location in UA. And Izuku arrives there and he sees his classmate, Hitotsu Shinzo. Now, I didn't say this before, but Shinzo was actually a general studies student. Seeing Izuku there, he says, "What's up, dude?" And Izuku and Shinzo actually have a good relationship. Before I said Izuku had another friend in class called something else. I can't actually remember, but I think we're gonna retcon that and replace that friend with Shinzo. Izuku and Shinzo were good friends in this. And Shinzo, seeing Deku, his other half and his more bright half, really the sun to his moon, would say, "What are you doing here, Izuku?" "Same as you. I came looking for someone to help me with some support items." "Some support items, huh?" "I've actually been starting to develop some myself." "Really? Could you point me in the direction towards someone who could help me?" "Yeah, but I mean, it's gonna take a while. I've started working on my support item and it hasn't even begun production yet. These guys, I mean, they're loaded to the brim with stuff from the older students in 3s and 3A and 2A, from people in 1A, 1B. I mean, it's kind of piled up back here. And we general studies kids are on the last place in that list. Just point me in the direction of the Persian Shinzo. Alright, Izuku. Come this way. I'll show you. Hey, Hatsume. Shinzo then calls out to Mei Hatsume, the mother of invention over here in UA High School. Shinzo then looks at Izuku and says, here you go. Mei is probably the smartest kid in the entire support class. Support class? That's 1H, right? Yeah. Hey, listen. Mei is a genius. She can pretty much design anything you bring to her. Hey, go ahead. Chop it up. I'll be in the back there, kind of doodling on working on my gadget. Okay. Peace out, Shinzo. See you later, Deku. And Deku and Mei would now have a conversation. Mei immediately starts rappelling off to Deku, as Deku brings her some of the sketches, showing her the gauntlet first, saying that this was the most important thing of all. If he didn't have the power to back up his strikes, then it would all be for naught. Mei looks at it and says, this is a pretty interesting idea. Using the wind, huh? To do something like this, it's not going to be as streamlined as you want it to. These things are going to be big and clunky. Are you sure you're going to be able to hold them properly? Yeah, I'm pretty strong myself, so... Okay. This one here. This is inspired by Aizawa, isn't it? Yeah, it is. His binding cloth is amazing. I wanted to make something like that, but something that could give me a little bit more movement possibilities. Kind of similar to a web of sorts. And what's this? This looks amazing. Oh, that's just a respirator. A respirator. That's kind of genius, Izuku. This could really change a lot of heroes' lives. Giving them a direct shot of oxygen can really bring people's stamina to new heights. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And this as well. This is a shield that's directly built into my costume. That, on the other hand, that's kind of stupid. What do you mean? I mean, you're just gonna protect the front side of your body and leave your back, completely undefended? Does that make sense to you? I guess, but I'll do it. But just so you know, it's gonna be weird and clunky. Everything in this design is gonna be clunky. I'll try my best to slim it all down, but this might make you look like an Iron Man or something. An Iron Man. I kind of like that. No, never mind. We're not doing that. So, you want this shield, you want this respirator, and these gloves. Also, the binding cloth. Will that be it? Yeah, that'll be it. Also, how soon can you get this to me? I mean, I'm working on a lot of stuff right now. I got my own personal stuff that I want to work on too. I'm also helping Shinzo with his gauntlet. There's other people's stuff, and there's actually some older people who want me to do some stuff for them too. Some second and third years. I can get it to you around the sports festival. The sports festival? You expect me to wait all the way until the sports festival? I mean, yeah. What's the problem? The problem is, I don't have that much time. Well, sorry. If you want to get it sooner, you work on it yourself. Huh. Work on it myself, huh? Maybe I'll just do that. Do what? If I was to come with you with some rough, builds of my support items, could you fix them up for me? Streamline them and make them a little bit better? I mean, yeah, sure, I have no problem with that. As long as I get to impose my own creative juices on these babies. Yeah, whatever you said. Okay, sounds like a deal. You bring me these rough versions of your support items and I'll clean them up for you. Alright, cool. Thanks a lot, Mei. No problem, Izuku. You can come to me anytime. I'd love to work on your babies. What? So that night, after returning home from speaking to May, Izuku decides that he's going to have to create his own support items. But before he gets home, he clocks in another day at work, and that day he actually gets his pay. And he begins researching some warehouses. When he gets home, he immediately purchases a warehouse in one of the more rougher areas of Tokyo. His mother is at first completely against this, telling Izuku that it's dangerous to be in such a rough area in a simple warehouse, that he could, ask her for money and she could fund it to him. But Izuku didn't want to do that, as he knew everything his mother was going through, so they could simply stay in a small apartment. Izuku would say, no, you may not understand this. It may take you even a couple of years, months, or hell, maybe even a few weeks, but you'll know what I'm doing is right for me. I know it's weird for a kid who barely got in general studies to be pushing to make it all the way to class 1A, but it's something that I want to do. I want to become a hero, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. Even if I am quirkless, I will be like him, Mom. Like All Might? Yes. Izuku, I'm scared. I understand that. And I am too. But I'm going to be strong. And I need you to be strong for me too. Okay? I understand. After having that riveting conversation with his mother, Izuku has the okay to now begin getting started on fulfilling his dream. Immediately after that happens, Izuku purchases a small warehouse in which he has a little bit of cash left, and then he buys himself a punching bag. And like I said before, he buys all that equipment, and he has a teensy-weensy bit of cash left, so he starts to buy himself some material to create his own Aizawa-like binding cloth. He looks up to what the Aizawa binding cloth is made of, and it's some pretty expensive shiznit. He can't quite afford it, so he buys something a little cheaper. Simple cotton cloth. Yeah, Izuku is going to buy cotton cloth instead of, waiting till he's able to afford the Aizawa cloth. He buys cotton cloth because he thinks, hey, it's better to have something to train with right now. And he's right. It is better to have something to train with right now. And after that day, the next day in the morning, he would wake up really early and go to meet his new quote-unquote landlord. It wasn't his landlord, it was this guy who he had rented this warehouse off of. He gets the keys, and the place is pretty small, but it has enough space for Izuku to put up a workbench and to put up his punching bag. And the area surrounding it wasn't as bad as Izuku previously thought. I mean, it was in a tough neighborhood at all, but nobody seemed to really want to bother him, which gave him free reign to train. And immediately after he's handed the keys, he begins setting up, putting up his workbench first, and then he puts up his punching bag and sets up his laptop. When he does that, he puts on some fighting tutorials and immediately begins training. At first, he was going to learn kickboxing. That's what the punching bag was for. And he gets started. It is now 5 a.m., school starts at 9, and he trains until 9. And immediately when he gets back in UA, he is completely exhausted from a long day of training. But it's all worth it. Izuku actually runs into May while he is in UA. He asks May, hey, about that blinding cloth. You see, I don't really have any idea how to do anything like that. So can you handle that for me? Yeah, that's cool. I'll whip you up an Aizawa-like blinding cloth. Hey, maybe I can make it even better. Hey, you know what'd be cool? What if the binding cloth could shoot lasers? I'm not sure about that. But you want some kind of laser shooter on your equipment, right? That's not really what I was going for. Izuku scratches his head as May says, I got you. I'll make sure that you have some laser shooter on your equipment. I got you, alright? Izuku shakes his head awkwardly as May walks away excited to go add some lasers to Izuku's sketches. And Izuku is kind of pissed, but he keeps it to himself because that's Izuku. And now we move on. Going past all of that, at the end of the day, Izuku goes home, says hi to his mother, grabs some dinner, and then immediately heads back out to the warehouse. He was going to train night and day. He basically was going to start living there. After some training, it is now 1 a.m. and he's leaving the neighborhood. Now, Izuku now realizes why this place was seemingly dangerous. As he looks around, he sees multiple shady figures. Luckily for him, he gets out of there quickly and unharmed, but he may not be as lucky next time. Getting back home, Izuku sits down and immediately falls asleep. When he awakes, his alarm's going off and it's 8:30 a.m. He was going to be late for school. He rushed and rushed, but he didn't quite make it on time. That makes his second time being late to class, and 2 weeks at least. This was a pretty bad look for Izuku, as he got in because he was seen as such a spectacular student. He was now late to class. Hopefully his grades didn't start slipping, because that would mess up any chance at hell for him to get into to get into 1A. And his friend Shinzo makes some comments on Izuku's lateness, saying, "Come on, Izuku. This is your second time being late to class already." "I know, Shinzo, I know." "Listen, Midoriya, get it together, or else you're gonna have no chance in hell to make it to 1A with me." "I understand, I will. It's just that I've been doing a lot of training." "Training, huh?" "Your quirkless ass have been training." "Yeah." "Come on, the warehouse. I'll tell you what I've been working on." "Alright, sure." And Shinzo makes a date to go meet Izuku by his new warehouse. After the day in UA, Izuku is completely exhausted. He's yawning on his way home. He gets in, says hi to his mother, then tells her he's going out with Shinzo to the warehouse so they can get some training and some practice in. Shinzo meets Izuku near the warehouse and immediately says, "Dude, this is a pretty shady area. You been walking around here by yourself at night?" Yeah. Everybody around here is cool, man. It's nothing like that." "Alright, just be on the lookout, alright, Izuku? You may think everybody around here is cool, but they don't know you like that." Yeah, I get it, Shinzo. Can you stop being such a sourpuss and ruining the entire moment? Let me show you my little slice of paradise." Izuku turns around, pulling up the veil in his warehouse, and Shinzo sees it. It's a pretty small, cramped place with a workbench on the left-hand side and a punching bag on the right-hand side. "So you just lock yourself in here and get to swinging?" Yeah. Izuku then digs in his bag, pulling out his laptop, placing it on the workbench, saying, "I watched tutorials here too. Let me show you what I've been working on. Stand right there." Shinzo then stands in a place, and Izuku tells him to get into a fighting stance. Shinzo puts his arms up like he's getting ready to box, and Izuku says, "Come on, swing at me." Shinzo does, and immediately Izuku turns to the left, grabbing Shinzo's arm, lifting it up. He then swings his left foot and kicks Shinzo in the chest. Shinzo falls on the ground, splurting up spit, saying, "Damn, dude, you could give me some warning that you actually gonna hit me." I didn't mean to. I kinda slipped and went too far. But you're okay, so I guess it's not a big deal." "Sorry, Shinzo. I promise you I didn't mean to." "It's okay, Izuku. Just next time, give a brother a warning, alright?" Shinzo wipes the dust off of his school uniform, as he is still in uniform. Izuku, however, had changed into some more slack clothes. "Shinzo, I want to show you what else I've been working on. Here, look at this." He then pulls the cloth out of his bag, saying, "What do you think?" It's cool, I guess." "What is it? You don't know what it is?" "No. It's like Aizawa's binding cloth." "That's supposed to be Aizawa's binding cloth?" Yeah. Dude, you're nowhere close. I know, it's made out of a completely different material. What material is it made out of anyway?" Cotton." Shinzo begins to laugh as Izuku stands there with a straight face. "Stop laughing, Shinzo. I'm serious, man. Your binding cloth is made out of cotton." "Yeah, it is. As soon as you wipe that on a villain, it's immediately gonna get torn off. You know that, right?" "That's not the point. It's meant to help me with practice, and maybe it can help you too. I understand that you wanted to use Aizawa's binding cloth, and you think that would be a good addition to your power system and, help you move around. So we could train with it together. Here." Okay. Izuku then throws Shinzo the binding cloth. "Thanks, I guess. So now how do I practice using this cotton cloth, dude?" You see, the punching bag is right there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna throw it at the punching bag and try to wrap it around him and pull it towards us. Then, after that, we're gonna take a nice swing at it. You ready? Yeah. Shinzo and Deku then begin training together, and Shinzo would be a vital part of Deku becoming stronger in the future, as their training sessions would push Deku further than anything else he could do on his own. We skip past that, and Deku has another late day. The alarm rings off, and this time it's a little bit early, as Deku had made sure to set his emergency alarm 30 minutes earlier. He slept through his first one, but luckily, at 8 o'clock on the dot, he got his alarm in. Izuku usually wakes at 7:30, but since he's been doing this late night training, he decides to get a little extra hour of sleep. This means he has to rush and get ready sooner, grabbing a piece of toast, not having time to really speak to his mother in the morning. He rushes out and runs towards UA. That day, he gets towards UA and sees Mei, who had been telling Izuku about her progress. Listen, Deku, I've started on your binding cloth, and it's going pretty well. I haven't been able to incorporate the lasers the way I wanted to, but I think I'm gonna add that to another part of your costume. What about your mask? Wouldn't it be cool if you could shoot a massive laser from your mouth? Yeah, May, about that. I don't really think a laser would be appropriate. Yeah. Maybe not the mouth. I'll think of another way to put it into your costume. But I'm telling you, I'm going to integrate a laser in there. It's going to be somewhere. Alright, I promise you that. May then runs off before Izuku can get another word in. And he's left stunned again. Goddamn lasers. What's wrong with that girl? He turns around to see Shinzo. Hey, Izuku. Hey, Shinzo. So, how you feeling after our training yesterday? Pretty good, honestly. Can you teach me more of that martial arts stuff? It's kickboxing, really, but I'm gonna start moving on to some actual martial arts pretty soon. You see, when I get paid next month, when I get paid this week, sorry, getting paid monthly in high school, damn. When I get paid this week, I'm gonna buy myself a personal trainer. A trainer, huh? To help you get fit? No, to help me fight. I'm gonna buy or rent a karate master, and he's gonna teach me all the ins and out of karate. Oh, okay, Izuku, I've never seen you act like this before. Shinzo, I'm really energized. I feel like I'm actually working towards my goal, and you're gonna be right there with me. Thanks a lot, buddy. No problem, man. Are we going to the warehouse tonight? Of course, dude. After another long day of UA, Izuku goes in with Shinzo, and they head directly towards the warehouse. Stopping by Izuku's house to say hi to his mom, Shinzo changes into a nice slack training clothes, and they get to training at the warehouse. And they train for a pretty long time. Izuku and Shinzo are now training until it's like 2:30 a.m. at night, and Izuku's mom starts to call him. That's when Shinzo realizes, damn, dude, it's late. My dad's gonna be worried. I gotta go. Come on, Izuku. Let's go. Do you think your mom will drop us off? Shinzo... Yeah, I think she will. But she's gonna be pissed at me, though. Let's just do it, alright? Come on. And Shinzo and Izuku walk away from the warehouse. As Izuku's locking off the warehouse, however, Shinzo and Izuku are approached by some thugs. Hey! It's that green-haired kid everyone's talking about. Hey, kid. What are you doing out this late? You want to rumble or something? Shinzo then butts in and says, what do you guys want? What kind of losers approach two kids at night like this? What are you gonna do, corner us? Ask us for our money? Can you just go away? Suckers. What did this kid say? I think he just called us suckers, Jin. Did you just call us suckers, kid? Izuku, yeah. I'm sorry about this, but you're an asshole, dude. Don't come around this warehouse again, or I'll bash your head in. Understand that? Ha, Jin. Are you hearing this? Yeah, I'm hearing it, us. This kid thinks he wants a problem with us. Well, let's show him how we really get down around this side of Tokyo. Let's do it, us. And Shinzo gets into a brawl with these guys. Shinzo immediately uses his quirk, saying, "How fat are you?" "What?" the guy responds, and Shinzo has him hoodlining Seeker. Activating his quirk, he makes him run into his other friend, named, I think, Jin, and they smash into each other head on. His friend then begins punching Jin as he grapples him to the floor, and Shinzo continually mind controls this guy, making him punch his friend and punch his friend and punch his friend. Deku realizes what's going on and says, "Shinzo, stop it, deactivate your quirk." And Shinzo does. When he does, notice his hand is kind of bloodied. Jin is going to survive, but it's going to leave him with a couple of bruises, and maybe even some bad scars. As Nose looks at his bloody hands, he looks back at the kid, who says, "I told you, you don't want a problem with us. Just leave us alone and never come to this warehouse again." You get it? Yeah. Yeah, man. I get it. Come on, Jin. Jin is now whimpering on the ground. His face bloodied and bruised. "Come on, Jin. Let's go. You're gonna regret this, kid." "What was that?" "Nothing. Come on." The two thugs walk away as we fade onto the next day. On to the next day, Izuku is now really late to school. After the whole debacle that went on that night, he was stressed out, and his mom was starting to get seriously angry at him. He arrived at school, and that day, he was late once again. This makes 3 times in a month. Shinzo warns Izuku about this, saying, "Dude, you cannot be late again. I'm telling you, if you are, I don't know if there's gonna be any saving you. Listen, man, I'll be fine, alright? I just gotta get a little more sleep at night. That's all." Izuku yawns as he falls asleep during class, and he's woken up to his teacher scolding him. Now, this is UA. Falling asleep in a classroom environment like this is a big no-no, and his teacher immediately scolds him, saying, "Izuku, what are you doing? One of our brightest students dissolved to this? I think all that training and practicing whatever you're doing is affecting you. Remember, you're a general studies student first, and then you can practice your little hero games, whatever the hell you're doing, on the side. But school comes first. Izuku, since you're one of our brightest students, I won't bring this up to the higher authorities. But if this happens again, and if you can continue being late one more time, I'm going to have to report it to the principal. Sorry, Izuku, but you have to know there's a line that you can't cross." Izuku would then struggle to stay awake for the rest of the day. When he gets out of class, he sneaks off to the convenience store and gets himself a canned coffee. During all this debacle, something happens to the 1A students. The USJ incident goes down. But before that, Izuku runs into Mei, who tells him that one of his support items are ready. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to be ending this part. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Yeah. Your friendly neighborhood taco, bringing you this general study shit. I really enjoyed making this. I want to make more of it. Just know there's going to be some more Asta What Ifs coming on Taco What If soon. This is going to be a new series surrounding another anime that I've never covered before. It's going to be a Hunter x Hunter What If, so look forward to that. It's going to be on Big Taco. And yeah, I love every single one of you. It's mostly cloudy around here most days, and you guys are the bright in my life. So if you could shine some of your lovely rays upon that subscribe button, that'd be very much appreciated. Also, lick that like button and crunch the comments. I'll see you in the future.